Welcome again, my friends. Now I want to work on the actual logic behind the sign up process. So the first thing I want you to do before doing anything in code is you open your Postman, and then you're gonna go to the My Workspace, and then you're gonna create a new one, and then you're gonna call it the new collection. You're gonna call it whatever you want. I'm gonna call it Shopee. Okay, and that's the name of it. And as you do that, let me close the rest. So now open it and actually click right here and click and add a request. And by adding a request, the request is going to be a post request. Let's call it, for example, sign up. And right here we're gonna define the route that we're gonna test this sign up process. So let me show you where it's gonna be. So if we go back to our Visual Studio Code, let me just zoom in a bit so you can see that. So in pages we have something that is called API, and inside API we have another folder that is called auth, and inside this auth we have, if you open it, you see we have the next auth and stuff. I want in this, I can add in a process which is, related to the authentication. So I may actually just add the file there. And that means in pages API auth, and then we're going to have a file that is called signup. So signup.js like that. And here you can write all the code you want. So now we know the route. The route is going to be, as we are working in the HTTP localhost 3000, I can go back to right here to post and then HTTP, and this is going to be 3000, and it's going to go to API, okay, and then it's going to be to auth and then sign up. So we go to the API routes. If you go, let me do it again. So in pages we have API, then auth, then sign up, and that's how you define the routes. It's as simple as this. And then you can click send, and then to get a response from the server if you have any, something that you respond with. So we don't have anything there. So the first thing that we need to do, we need something that is called a handler. So we're going to use Next Connect, and Next Connect is simply going to help us manage our requests. So if we have a post request, we can manage that, delete, whatever type of request we have, we're going to manage it with Next Connect. And also we can use that to add our, easily add the middlewares, and it gives us a lot of, advantages than using plain JavaScript without having this tool. So the first thing I want to also open the terminal, add a new one, and right here I want you to go yarn add and then Next Connect, and then click enter. So we need to add Next Connect, and as it's installed, you can go back to our file and then import it. So let me zoom in a bit. So that's too much. I feel like this is visible enough. So we're gonna go import and then inc, which is stands for Next Connect, and we're gonna import it from Next Connect. That's it. That's the first thing that you need to do. And you're gonna define now the handler. So I can go const handler, and this is gonna be simply running the inc that we got from Next Connect. And then you can define the handler. So you can go handler, for example, .post, and that's gonna be for post. And you do simply what you do normally. So it's gonna be an async function that takes a request and then a response, and then inside this you can do whatever you like. Okay, so for example here I can go console log, or for example response. Let's response something. So response.send, for example, welcome from sign up API, like that. So now if I went to this route, which is API auth sign up, and then the type of request was post, this is what we're gonna get as a response. So if I go back to Postman and now try and send, you're gonna see it a little bit. Okay, so this is post localhost 3000 API auth sign up. There is something wrong or what? We're getting an server error. So let me just see. Let me go back to the server and see what's the error. Okay. Let me just see what's the error is. What is it? At objects API. Okay, resolver is not a function. So this is API auth, then sign up. Oh, sorry, I forgot something very important. We need to export default handler like that. Okay, we need to export it so it does work. So let me try again, send. And as you see, we get welcome from sign up API. So if you go back, let me repeat to you, we use Next Connect, so we can actually have a handler, and using this handler, we can actually just, use any type of, request that you want. So you just make sure to export it as default as that. So this is how we created a simple API for sign up. And simply inside this, we can do anything that we want. So for example, let's have a try catch. Okay, so we can catch any error if we have, and then so we can go just response.status, and then this is going to be 500, which is the server error, and then we can just return a JSON. That is going to be the message, for example, and the message is going to be the error dot message, like that. Okay, if I done something wrong, I'm gonna explain it later. And right here in this try, you can do anything also you want. So the first thing that you want to do is actually connect to the database, because whenever you want to do something like sign up and stuff, we want to connect to the database, and that's something we need to import. So import db from, we've done this before, so we're gonna go to the utils folder and then db. Okay, and then if you want to connect to the database, you can just use the db objects and then just go await before that and then db.connect db, like that. We've done this before. This is how you connect to the database, which is a function that we created in db that is called connect db, and that's simply what we've done right here. Also, you can console log something that is called the request.body, so you can get anything in the body. And I'm going to show you how to send that using like Postman. So if you go back to Postman right here, if you go to the body, you can actually send some type of data, like for example row, and type of it like for example JSON, and you can send an object, and you can send, for example, I don't know, like name, and the value of the name is going to be like for example my name. Okay, like that. And then let's try and send. Okay, we're getting a problem. I feel like invalid JSON. Okay, sorry, my bad, because we need also to have this as this. I forgot. So let me send again. So the value, which is name, we have my name. So if I go back right now and open the console, as we console log that, we can see we console log the objects as we have the name and then like that. Also, we can add something like the email. So I can go, let me cancel that. So right here, I can go under that and have like email. And for the email, I'm just gonna have like anything, my name at gmail.com, for example. And then I'm gonna send again. And then you go back right here and you can see that that object has the name and the email also. The last thing that we need, because if you remember the sign up process, we need the name and then the email and then the password. So also we need the password. So I can go back right here and then have the password. Okay, and then right here we can have some sort of random password. Okay, like that. And now that we have all the informations, now what we want to do is actually like test everything. So sorry, you want to test everything to make sure everything is right. For example, we're going to make sure that we have a value for the name and email and password. So if one of them doesn't exist, we're not going to allow the process to continue. We're going to ask the user to enter or fill all the field required, and that's what we're going to do. So let me show you how easy is this. The first thing I want to do is extract the name and the email and the password from the request.body. Okay, that's actually what we're going to do first. So I'm just going to go right here. Instead of console logging the whole body, I'm just going to extract what we want, which is going to be the name and then the email and then the password. And then we're going to get them from the request.body. This simple. Let me see, not boy body, like that. And then we can do all the tests we want. So if, and then we can just start. If we don't have any name or we don't have no email, so one of the informations is not available, so or there is no password. Okay, we simply just gonna go and then response, and then the status is gonna be 400, which is a bad request. And then we're gonna go JSON, and then we're gonna send a message back, and the message is gonna say, for example, let me just see right here, please fill in all fields. Okay, all fields, and that's just customizable for you. Okay, and we're gonna add return because we don't want to run any code after that. That's like we return, you stop everything. So that's the first thing. So let me go back, for example, right here, and then let's remove, like for example, the password. And if we remove the password and try and send, and as you see, okay, let me remove that and then try and send, you're gonna see the message is gonna be please fill in all fields, and that message we're gonna send back to the user in the front end. But this is like how the idea of it. So if the informations are there, there's not gonna be any problem. But if you have one of the informations missing, you're gonna get this error, and that's the first thing. So the second thing that I want to do is actually validate the email. So we need like a function that we need to create it that validates the email. So let's do that. So what we're going to do is create a function that is going to be reusable across all our applications. So it's a function that, you know, can be reused anytime we want it. So what we're going to do is go to utils, and we're going to create a new file. Let's call it validation.js. So this file is going to have some sort of validation that we're going to have now on in the front end. So we're going to have the functions. We're going to go export and then const. Let's call it validates email. and this is going to take an email, and right here simply we're going to call const and then regex statement. And we worked with Yup. We work on like making sure, like for example, the name had no special characters. It's like the same way for regex right here. We're just gonna create this, but I've done it in another, my other course. I've done it and I've explained every single like one of it. And what I found is that it's not really perfect and it's had some holes in it. So what I had to do is actually look in the internet and see if someone or like some people who done it like the perfect way, which is something that like works 99% of the time, you could say. And I found this. I'm gonna paste this right here. It's quite long. If you know regex, this is all gonna make sense to you. It's not that hard. And if you don't know, you can just look for regex. It's actually pretty simple. And right here, what we're gonna do is just simply return, and then we're gonna go to the regex statement and we're gonna test it. This is a JavaScript, function test, not text. That's also what it does. It simply takes this email right here. So it's gonna take this email and test it, and it's gonna see if it follows the rule that we have for this regex. Okay, because if you see this regex, right, it's splitted. We have this part, the second part, the third part, and it's going. And that's what an email is. It's like a domain, subdomain, etc. So it's gonna validate that. And if the email following the rules that we have right here is gonna return true. If it doesn't, it's gonna return false. And that way I can just take this function and go right here and import it. So let me right here, import validates email. So it's gonna go from 3 times up and then to utils and then to validation. And then what we're gonna do is simply go right here, if, and then we're gonna see if validates email is false for the email that we have in the request.party, that means it returns false, and if it returns false, that means the email is invalid. So the message right here is gonna be invalid email, for example, whatever message you like. And then by going to Postman again, everything is fine right here. So there's no error. If we go and remove, for example, the ads from here and try and send again, 100% we're gonna get invalid email. And that's the way it works. So you can have, for example, the ads right here. Let's go and remove the dots and then send, and you're gonna see invalid email. You return that. We can allow like a double subdomain, so like you can go fr sometimes it do be like that, like co.fr and then send. It's fine, it's not gonna be a problem. But having something like without the dots is simply invalid, and that's the way to validate it. It's pretty simple, and that's the way to do it.